All right, it's time for our, I think this is our fourth deck tech, yes. Norin, Swift Survivalist. So what makes Norin really cool is, so he can't block, and whenever a creature you control becomes blocked, you may exile it. You may play that card until the end of your turn. So what you do is you get to play your commander on turn 1, right? And then everything that you play from there on out, creature-wise, you get value from, because you get to flicker him out when he gets blocked, and if they don't block, they get dealt damage, so that's always a downside. And when they get exiled, you can replay them, and you get their Enter the Battlefield ability again. So the deck is full of Enter the Battlefield triggers for creatures, and then it's also full of just good spells that facilitate that. Now, Norin is really good, super great, good turn 1. Grim Lavamancer is in there for some reach, plus it's one of my more nostalgic cards. I won quite a few tournaments on the back of this card, really great guy. Memory Worm. So he's really good, especially when you have the Norin triggers. Being able to cast stuff from anywhere and then putting 1/1 counters on him, just great. And then you can target yourself with the damage, and then you can, draw and discard, which is great. Direfleet Daredevil enters the battlefield. Exile target instant or sorcery from an opponent's graveyard. You may play that card this turn, and you can spend mana as if it were any type to cast it. So another one of those cool enter the battlefield things where he comes back and you get to grab whatever the best spell is in any graveyard. Charming Scoundrel is a great ETB. He's got 3 different roles, super good. And it also can be one of those ones that you play right away with Norin on turn 1, then this on turn 2, and you get the value off of it from doing all of that. Robber of the Rich. Fantastic card for the ETB ability. It enters and you pick a player, draw cards if you have less cards in your hand. That's really great. Oh no, this is the one where you exile the top card of your library. Oh, when it attacks, you exile a card. During your turn, if you attack with a rogue, which he is a rogue, you can play it, and you can spend mana as though it were anything. So target a guy and you get their card. Goblin Chain Whirler, really great enter the battlefield guy. Comes in, deals 1 damage to each opponent and each creature, so you get to flicker him in and out. Really just awesome. Star Athlete, really good one. When Star Athlete attacks, choose up to 1. Permanent, it's target non-land permanent, its controller may sacrifice it to have Star Athlete deal 5 damage to any player. So, when it's one of those attack triggers, so I get the value off of it from Norin. Professional Facebreaker. Whenever 1 or more creatures deal combat damage to a player, I create a treasure token. And then I can sacrifice treasures to exile a top card of my library, and then I can play that card this turn. So that, coupled with Norin's ability where I can trigger and flicker everybody out if they get blocked, means that my guys don't die unless it's a board wipe. And if they don't get blocked, then they just get in. Then Facebreaker just keeps making treasures. Grishnok enters the battlefield, a Mass Orc 2, so you get a 2/2 token, or you put 2 1/1 counters on an ogre or an orc. And when you do, until end of turn, gain control of target non-legendary creature and opponent controls less than or equal to the number of amassed armies. Untap that creature, it gains haste. So if you're flickering him and you keep amassing your orc, you get to keep stealing their guys, which is really good. Circuit Mender, really good enter the battlefield ability, a really good leave the battlefield ability. So whenever it gets blocked, you get the leave the battlefield ability, and you get to replay it for the enter the battlefield ability. So he's just really good with Norin. Plundering Pirate enters the battlefield, create a treasure. Treasures are great in this deck because you can just keep using them to keep chaining your guys together. Flame Tongue Kabu, 4 damage to target creature when it enters. Just a great card. Hero of Oxford Ridge, Battle Cry, creatures power 1 or less can't block, so you can't get like chump blocked whenever it does get to that late game, and he's just really good to help push damage. So is Hellrider. Hellrider is a fantastic card, one of my nostalgic cards as well. So he says whenever a creature you control attacks, Hellrider deals 1 damage to a defending player. So whoever you attack to gets dealt 1 damage just right off the bat without even having like an option to block it. It's just an instant damage. Fanatic of Mogis, because you are going to have a ton of stuff on the battlefield. So you're going to deal X, and X is the devotion, which is awesome. Rodeo Pyromancers. He's really good to have on the battlefield whenever you start flickering your guys, because the first time that you flicker a guy and you play him, you get 2 mana back. So sometimes it can be free. Like if you play one of these guys, it's just a free spell. Solemn Simulacrum, great enter the battlefield ability. Also just super good. So Enduring Courage is a great one that's new. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, it gets +2/+0 and has haste. So if he's on the battlefield, Norrin's on the battlefield, and I play a dude, and I play another dude, they all get +2/+0 and haste, so that means they get their triggered abilities, they get the Norrin ability, so I can keep flickering them. Just really great. Avalanche Riders is another guy that has a great enter the battlefield to destroy lands. Goblin Dark Dwellers lets me steal a instant or sorcery from a graveyard. From my graveyard for free. So like if I have like one of my spells in there, I can cast it for free. Mindclaw Shaman lets me copy. Target opponent reveals his or her hand. You may cast an instant or sorcery from their hand without paying its cost. So if he enters, you have a bunch of cards in hand, I can target you, and I get to grab an instant or sorcery from your hand. Zealous Conscripts, just another cool guy. Gets to take people from other guys. Siege Gang Commander gets me create goblins whenever he comes in. So, you know, you attack, flicker him back, you get more goblins. Thundermaw Hellkite, another one of those like feels cards. Flying haste. When he enters, he deals 1 damage to each creature with flying your opponent's control, and then they get tapped. So if you're trying to cheat through damage through the air, Thundermaw is great. Neheb the Eternal, afflict 3 at the beginning of your post-combat main phase for each red. Add red for each 1 life your opponent lost this turn. So Neheb's really good if you have like Hellrider on the battlefield. So say you have Hellrider, Neheb, and you attack with 4 guys. Well, if they don't block, you're going to get mana. If they do, no matter what, you're going to get mana because the Hellrider triggers. So you're going to get 4 mana off the bat. And then you can flicker your guys if they get blocked, or you can let them go through, cast other stuff, or recast the guys that flickered with Neheb's stuff. Italy is just a great card. If you're playing any red, this is a card you have to play. You get to steal people's stuff from their graveyard or from their deck. Combustible Gear Hulk, fantastic red card. You should be playing this if you're playing red. It's amazing. So he enters, and I can either draw 3 cards, or an opponent can say that I don't get to draw, and then I mill 3, and then Combustible Gear Hulk deals damage equal to the number of converted mana cost for all 3 cards. So let's say I played him. You told me to mill, and I mill these 3 cards. You're taking 15 damage. Just boom. Can't do anything about it because it's part of the cast. So Gear Hulk's great. Inferno Titan. This is another one of those cards that just gives me the ultimate feels. The art is fantastic, and it was one of those like really powerful cards when I first jumped back into Magic. And then, so he's a 6/6 for 6, and then when he enters, he deals 3 damage divided as I'd like between 1, 2, or 3 targets and or players. So I can kill like this 1/1, this 1/1, and then 1 to your face. Just a really cool suite of creatures that I like to play with Norrin. And let's get into our artifacts here, because they're actually really good. You know, Swiftfoot Boots, of course, because Swiftfoot Boots is always good. Lightning Greaves, because I also want to still protect Norrin, so we're playing both versions of that. Fire Diamond, which is just a really good mana rock. So is Mind Stone, and then I've got Ruby Medallion, which makes all of my red spells cost 1 generic less. kind of like a rock, but just is better. Cursed Mirror, which actually might be the best mana rock in Magic the Gathering, to be honest. I'd say fair mana rock, because he comes down on 3, adds a red, and then as he enters, I can actually have it become a copy of any creature on the battlefield until end of turn, except it has haste. So, like, if it's late, then he's just a really good copy card, right? Hazoret's Monument makes red creature spells cost 1 less. Commander Sphere, obviously, just really good. Sculpting Steel, because sometimes you do want to copy a random artifact on the battlefield, or because you want to copy your Panharmonicon. So if an artifact or creature entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability or of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. So Panharmonicon basically says that when Etali enters, he triggers, right? Because it's a triggered ability. I get that twice because Panharmonicon's on the battlefield. So I get his ability twice when he enters the battlefield, which is just nuts. Now let's go over our enchantments, because we've got some really, really awesome ones. Let's put these guys away really quick. So enchantment-wise, we're playing Kumano, who flips into a creature. And the neat part about that is that once he's a creature, we can get our Norin triggers. So he flickers out, and then he turns back into an enchantment, and then you replay him, and you get the enchantment all over again. And it's got some pretty cool stuff on it. So in the first one, it deals 1 damage to target to each opponent and each planeswalker. And then for number 2, the next creature that I cast gets +1/+1, and then it flips into a creature, which is that's just really good. It just continues to give you the good stuff every time you flip it back. Guild Artisan, which is actually a really cool card that I found. Commander creatures you own have, whenever this creature attacks a player, if no opponent has more life than that player, you create 2 treasure tokens. So if I am attacking with Norin, whoever the biggest guy is, whoever has the most life, then I'm going to automatically get 2 treasures. And if he gets blocked, he flickers, and 1 treasure is going to recast him, so I'm always up a treasure. I always net a treasure every time. Or if they don't block him, they take 2 commander damage, and I only have to do that 10 times to kill somebody. So it's just a really cool card. Passionate Archaeologist, which is really good with Norin, again. Commander creatures you own have, whenever you cast a spell from exile, this creature deals damage equal to that spell's converted mana cost. So like with Norin's trigger, it exiles him, and if I'm casting these big dudes from exile, then Norin is dealing 4, 5, 6 every time I cast it. Super good. Invasion Plans, a really old enchantment. Each creature blocks whenever able, so you make people block, and attacking player chooses how creatures block. So that's for the whole table too. So like if your opponents attack you, they can choose your guys and how they block, which is why you're exhausting all of your guys every time. You're always tapping, you're always attacking, you're doing everything. Grand Melee, all creatures attack each turn if able. All creatures block each turn if able. So you can't just sit back and be like, I'm going to wait. You have to, because I'm making it. Sneak Attack, which is one of the coolest cards in the deck, because I can cheat out a creature, pay red, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield, that creature gains haste, sacrifice at the beginning of the F step. So, cool part about Sneak Attack is if I sneak in Etali with Sneak Attack for 1 mana, gonna get my Etali trigger, gonna attack with Etali, gonna either do 6, or I'm gonna flicker him, and then once he's flickered, and I replay him, he no longer has that sneak attack thing where he has to get sacrificed because he's a new card. So I essentially got to play him twice for 7 mana, which is really, really good. And then the last one, which is Close Quarters. Whenever a creature you control becomes blocked, Close Quarters deals 1 damage to target creature or player. So I'm forcing blocks, and then I'm doing things after I'm blocked, which is the name of this deck. You know? I just want you to do something, and I'm making everyone do stuff. Like, I'm not going to let anybody sit back. So I do have a ton of burn in the deck, which burn basically means just direct damage with red spells. And they can either be to target creatures or players or anything. So I have, Lightning Bolt, which is 3 damage. A Braid does 3 damage. It also destroys a creature, or it destroys an artifact. Fire Blast is 4 damage to any target. Chain Lightning is 3 damage. Bolt Weave is 3 damage. Lava Spike is 3 damage. Flame Rift is 4 damage. So all of these are burn spells that are just really good, and I continue to play them because they're just great. And they're ways to, like, when the board is low, I will kill everyone with this. Smite the Deathless, it destroys Smite the Deathless, 3 damage to target creature. If that creature is indestructible, if they are indestructible, they lose it, and if they die, they exile. Cast into Fire, which is just a great way to kill either 2 1/1s or to exile a whole artifact, which is great. Chaos Warp, obviously super good in red, always is played, is a necessary staple in any red deck. Demoralize, which is actually a really cool card. So this is one of those old school foils. They're actually my favorite foils. Because the border is foil, not the actual art itself, which is like my favorite part about old foils. Anyway, each creature can't be blocked except by 2 or more. And then if it's threshold, which means you have more than 7 cards in a graveyard, in my graveyard, nobody blocks. So this card would replace like some of those effects. Big score, obviously, drawing cards and creating treasures, super good. Faithless Looting, discarding cards, redrawing cards, just kind of filtering your deck. Cathartic Reunion doing the same thing. This is actually Shatterstorm, so for 2 and 2 red, it destroys each artifact on the battlefield. So just a good way to keep artifact decks in check. Mana Geyser, add red to your mana pool for each tap land your opponents control. So if everybody taps out, you play this, you get 1,000,000 mana, play your entire deck basically. Songmad Treachery, which is one of those spell lands. Like, it's got a flip land, and you can either play it for the land or you can keep it in your hand like this. Blasphemous Act, last card basically in the deck. Just a really great red catch-all. And as far as lands are concerned, we're playing a few. We're playing some pretty good ones. Mad Blind Mountain, Hidden Volcano, Forgotten Cave, Autonomous Forest. Castle Embreth, which adds 1/0 to your creatures. Smoldering Crater, Desert. Mines of Moria, which is one of my favorite new cards. It enters tapped unless you control Legendary, which you are because you're always playing your creature for 1. And then you can pay 4, exile 3 cards from your graveyard, which I'm playing a lot of spells, and then create treasures. So that's always good. Shivan Gorge, and then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different destroy your land cards as far as lands are concerned, which is great. So all in all, the deck is just trying to play Norn as fast as possible, play or enter the battlefield triggers, and continue to just get value by replaying your enter the battlefield guys, and protect your guy at all costs, make stuff cheaper, play good value spells, stuff that's going to win you games too, as far as, burn is concerned. And that is Mono Red. I love making these videos for you, honestly.